What's going on, you guys? Coaster here, just talking about the game. I know it's been about a day or so, but yes, the Raiders have lost to the Chiefs. They've been swept in the season once again. And there's really not a lot of good things to say, but there were a couple things that I can't say that were positive. So in a losing video like usual, the positive of this was the defense. Big surprise. 3 out of the last 4 games, the defense actually has played well enough to win games. They carried them in the games against the Chargers and Bengals. The defense is the only reason why they won. They showed their hearts out. They were not the reason why the scoreboard is what it was. The other positive would be, I guess, be Josh Jacobs. There were times they gave him the ball. I thought he did his job. He checked off all the tasks he had to do. But off to the bad. A lot of them. First, I'll go with the small ones first. Dumb penalties. A lot of bad discipline. Pre-snap, there were false starts, there were offsides. That's on coaching. Coaching, you should be fixing that. We've seen these penalties before as Raiders fans. We're so used to it, but these mistakes still happen. Garbage. The other call, that's other negative. You could say there was that pass interference call that was dumb. You could say it's the Saints' fault because of what happened last postseason, but yeah, that's a bad call. It's garbage now that every team can just challenge a penalty. But that's not why they lost the game. The biggest negative of all, of course, was Derek Carr. And I don't know how many Derek Carr fans are watching me. I know on on Twitter, there's been all these guys who defend Derek Carr and say he can't do no wrong. Well, you're out of excuses. I've been on the fence on this issue the whole time. Derek Carr has really divided fans one way or another. And the problem is he's just streaky. He had one really, really good season. He got paid. He cashed in. And ever since, he's been soft. Or he makes the same mistakes that we've been seeing since his rookie year, where he'll throw to the wrong guy, or he'll do a soft toss. Now, the play calling wasn't good either. There were some dumb gimmicks. There was that 4th down to Tom Davis. Just absolutely bad call there. You could say going to Josh Jacobs for 1 yard was predictable and conservative, but that's the play that usually most people would believe in. Otherwise, as said, Derek Carr, this is the game that really, really could be turning fans against him. I don't see much with this. His legacy right now is going to be remembered as one really magical year, and then losing to the Chiefs. You're losing to the Chiefs this much, we're going to be second fiddle to them for a long time. I don't know what's going to happen to him, but he's not going to win an Arrowhead Stadium anytime soon. It's pretty sad that, you talk a big game, he's aware of all his bad games against them before, and here it is again. He can't carry this team. And this is really the big question I have for you, is what are your thoughts on Derek Carr? I have kind of strayed away from this because, yes, there were times he's to blame for the game, times to not, but 3 out of 4 games, he hasn't looked very good. You could say, never mind, sorry. The last 4 games, he hasn't looked good. Yes, you can say he made that drive against the Chargers, but defense is why they won that game. That's 10 quarters without a touchdown. And I know I don't really count that garbage time one in the 4th quarter. That doesn't mean anything. So you could say he doesn't have receivers. You can say his offensive line isn't as great, but the best quarterbacks can make good of a bad situation. And right now, for what he's being paid, he's not worth it. My big take now, Derek Carr is a game manager. Now, game managers are not always bad. There's times to do it, but for what he's getting paid and what the expectations are, he's not what a lot of people think he is. He makes mistakes. He's up and down. He's got to limit those mistakes. And in this case, the Raiders have to run the ball really well for him to look good. Otherwise, he can't be that guy to throw 40, 50 times a game because he's not an elite quarterback. He's just throwing those short passes, or he'll check down, and he won't do it in a very smart manner. There are other quarterbacks right now who have more heart and have played better than him the last 4 weeks. One of them, the Raiders are going to see next week. Ryan Tannehill, a backup quarterback right now, is out playing Derek Carr on the Titans. And no, they got to play them next week. That's a must-win game if the Raiders want any hopes of playoffs, and I'm not even thinking about it. But, a loss to the Titans, who are ahead of the Raiders right now, that ends your season. You're done, so on. Three exhibitions after that. Your division hopes are already done with this loss. I don't I don't see really how Derek Carr overcomes this. His back was against the wall, and he no-showed when it mattered most. So it is possible. Was the moment too big for him? I don't know. Just some of the things he makes those continuous rookie mistakes. And at the end of the day, Mike Mayock and John Gruden are not the guys who drafted him. So I wouldn't be shocked if they're just looking at quarterbacks. There may not be a guy to take in the first round, but could they take a guy in the mid round or a guy that they think should be a project? Yeah, I really do believe this is that time. But I don't know what the plan is. This team just right now is mediocre. They're not good. They're not bad. But it doesn't make sense when the defense is playing well and the offense is not, because as someone pointed out in the last video, the cap space is mostly invested in the offense because of Derek Carr, Trent Brown, Rodney Hudson, Gabe Jackson. Most of that offensive line is getting paid a lot of money, and they're not living up to the hype. You could say the wide receivers are not good, and there's a lot of inexperience there. And John Gruden gambled on a veteran from the Steelers who, I'm not going to say his name, but even if they had him, this team is still going to be dysfunctional because Derek Carr is not the leader and he's not the star that the Raiders were hoping he can be at this point in time. So, yeah, this is really the time to unleash on Derek Carr, guys. I think it's really my breaking point. I was on the fence. I just gave it a wait and see, and now we're second fiddle to the Chiefs until told otherwise. I mean, the thing that's really tiring to me is that people say that this team's got a future, the future's bright, the team got better from last year. Well, I've been hearing that for about 16 years, 17 years. It was supposed to be bright under Rolando McClain, Jared Valdir. Wasn't it supposed to be under Andrew Walter? Supposed to be bright under, I don't know, Darius Hayward-Bay? I mean, you could go on and on and on about these players. The future is bright, but until you get there, until you start winning more than just one playoff season in that time, yeah, you can't say anything. They got to get there. And I don't know about this team. Just they can go to Vegas, they can still be mediocre. But the quarterback situation becomes the larger hole than the defense in the last 4 games. That's not good. Coming into this year, had they been 8-8 or a 500 team where Derek Carr and the offense look good and the defense sucks, I think it would have been easier to digest and understand and say, okay, we know the problem, it's a very obvious hole. But now, these 4 games don't make sense. The defense is not why they're losing games as much as it is the offense. And that's not good. I mean, that Bengals game, it was a foreshadowing. You kind of saw it coming. You wish you could ignore that they didn't look good, but they still don't look good. And based on the last 4 games, the Titans are going to steamroll them because the Titans have played better. But they're a streaky, weird team. You don't know what to think. I'm not going to say the season's over, but a loss will mean the season is over if they don't beat the Titans. So, now, what are your thoughts on Derek Carr and others? That's where I'm at this point. Do the Raiders have other holes that are more concerning? But Derek Carr has become the hole and the black problem with this Raiders team. See you guys next time.